So to turn the power to the machine on, you've got the on-off button on the right hand side. Turn the power on, the arm will now lock and you'll get the DS2 LED light up, and you will also hear the fan for the power supply on the back of the machine. And I'm now going to double click on the DS Matrix icon to run the Matrix software to operate the machine. And on the first screen you can change the language, or you can change the configuration of the workspace for the machine. I'm just going to select for the software to be run in normal mode. If you select the software to run in simulation mode, you can do this without being connected to a machine. So I'm just going to go normal mode and OK. And the machine is now going to perform a self-test, which will take about 2 minutes, and you should perform this every morning. Once the software has finished the self-test, you are displayed with a report, and on this report all the items of the machine are listed on the left hand side, and whether it's passed or failed is highlighted on the right hand side. I'm now going to press the red close button to finalise the self-test. And now the DS Matrix software is completed. The screen you are looking at is a timeline screen, and on the left hand side you have the now time, and the screen will continuously load from right to left throughout the day. Every time you load a set of samples, the machine will program the assay that you select and will display a row of icons, and each icon represents an action that the machine is going to take. Across the top you have the buttons that drive the software, so play, stop, pause, skip, edit, add, fit next and accept. The software is pre-configured with all the assays for the Solus range of kits. In the bottom left hand corner is your results screen, so your new results drop into this box here, and there is a view all reports where all the results that have ever been run on this machine drop into the database. So I'm going to run a 5 sample demonstration assay and show you how to program the software and load the reagents and the plate and everything onto the machine. And the process for doing this is File, Worklist Editor, and then you're displayed the sample batch screen, and the software defaults to new sample batch. If you've run some samples previously and you would like to rerun them with a different assay, they will be stored in the drop down menu, but for the most part our customers only ever run new samples. They will run them once and then they will throw the samples away and never run them for a different assay. So I'm going to select new sample batch and click OK. And now I'm displayed with the Worklist Editor screen, and on this screen there are various ways of programming in sample numbers, but firstly I need to tell the machine how many tubes I'm going to run, and there's various ways of doing this. You can click on the position that you are going to, that represents the number of tubes you're going to run, or across here on the right hand side you have the number of samples, and you can just type them in however many samples you're going to run. So I've highlighted that I'm going to run 5 tubes. I now need to give each one of these tubes a unique sample number, and again there's various ways. You can click into the first cell here and you can type the number in like so, or you can click into the cell and you can use a handheld barcode scanner and scan in from a paper work list or from an actual 10mm RVS tube. Or if the numbers are sequential, you can use a pattern, and on the right hand side I'm going to select use pattern. I'm going to put my first sample number in as being number 1 and click assign, and it's now called the sample numbers 1 through to 5. The last option is you can use the machine software and a machine with an onboard barcode scanner to scan the tubes in using the DS2. For this I have created a separate video. So I've now programmed 5 tubes and I've given each one a unique sample number. I'm going to select next. We have now moved on to the Worklist Editor screen where I can select the assay I want to run for these 5 samples. And for the purpose of this video I'm just going to select the Solus demo assay and click add assay, and it's now dropped the Solus demo assay into this column here. I'm now going to press done, and the software flashes up saying it's going to prepare a work list, and I now have a timeline, and each one of these icons is an action of the machine. As you can see, the software has currently grayed these icons out. To accept them, we'll bring them into real life. If you've selected the wrong assay or you've programmed in the wrong samples for some reason, you can go in and edit what you've already programmed, or you can now load a second plate. At this point I would never load a second plate. I would always start this first plate and then add my second plate later on. So I'm just going to press accept, and I've now got a small period of waiting time, and skip or fast forward is available, so I'm going to press the skip button, saves me having to wait the minute or two. The first thing the software is asking me to do is load my 5 sample tubes. So I load my first sample tubes with tube 1 in the back left position into rack 1. Once they are loaded, click the tick. The software is now asking me to please load in a Dynex large reagent tube, and a Dynex large reagent tube is a 25mm universal. It's telling me that it would like me to load Solus demo stop solution, the volume required, and it's highlighting the position in reagent compartment 1 in reagent rack 1, and you can see from the picture where it's asking me to load this. So from your kit box you need to transfer your demo stop solution into your universal, and for the purpose of this I'm just using tap water. Slide the rack out and gently lower the stop solution into the position the software is asking. Once you've completed this, click the tick, and it's now asking again in a Dynex large reagent tube the substrate, same rack 1 but compartment 2. Again, gently lower your substrate into position 2 and click the tick. And now again in a Dynex large it's now asking for the conjugate in rack 1 position 3. Click the tick again. We've now moved on to a Dynex control bottle, and it's asking for my demo positive control in rack 1 compartment 1. Click the tick. It's now asking again in a Dynex control bottle for my demo negative control in reagent rack 1 compartment 2. Obviously at this point it's imperative that you load the correct reagents into the correct position. If they are loaded into the machine in the wrong order, the software will not be able to tell that, and at the end of the results you will have no result. Click the tick. Software has now presented the lower plate carrier. You can see from the image the top carrier is going away and the software has presented the lower carrier. The software is also asking me to load a Solus demo plate. It's going to start from strip 1 in the plate, but it's asking for number of strips, so it's only asking for 1 strip. So at this point you need to pop out all the remaining 11 strips, and these need to be stored in the kit box and used at a later date. You must fill all 8 wells because it's going to wash all 8 wells. Even if you only need 3 of the wells, you need to fill the whole 8. And I would also advise that when you're running a plate, you write on the plate frame what it is you're running. So I'm just going to put on here demo 1, like so, and I'm going to clip the plate and ensure that it's fully located into the plate carrier. And on the software you have to give each plate that you run a name, otherwise the software won't allow you to move forward. So I'm just going to put in what it is I'm running. So demo 1, I'm going to put the date in and my initials. Also, a point to note, when you're entering the date, don't use the / icon. Once you've loaded your plate and given it a name, click the tick. The software is now asking me to load 108 sample tips. Sample tips come in boxes of 4, and this is an individual box. To load them onto the machine, can't get in the top. Remove the top of the box, like so. Remove the bottom of the box and click the tips into position. 108 tips is a full box. Once they're in, just make sure all the tips are fully located onto the machine. Click the tick. The software is now asking me to load 10 reagent tips. Again, the tips come racked in the same boxes, but on this occasion you take the top off and you individually load tips into the rack that the software is asking for them. The biggest importance of the tips, as you will see, is there is a big difference in the actual size of the tip. You cannot use a blue sample tip in a white reagent tip position. It will break the machine. You cannot put a white tip where a sample tip belongs because they're too big, they don't fit. But unfortunately they will go into the wrong position. So whenever you're training customers, you never use a blue tip in a reagent position. Once you've loaded your 10 reagent tips, click the tick. The software is now asking me to load my Solus wash buffer, and it's asking me to load it in position A on the machine. So I'm going to drop my silver tray and connect the tubing up using the elbow connector and plug in the jack plug socket for the level sensor. The machine is now asking me to ensure that there is enough distilled deionized water in the clean line. And the last message, the software is now telling me to empty the tip waste and the liquid waste. Once they are empty, the machine is ready to run. And click tick.